Hey there guys, welcome back to another episode of Monster Super League. It's your boy Odin, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys the Water Titan guide. I did a community post on YouTube to see which Titan guide you guys wanted to see next, and the majority of you guys voted for the Water Titan. And so therefore the next after the Water Titan is going to be the Wood Titan, followed by the last the Fire Titan. So I figured I would go ahead and basically start off by showing you guys my main end game team. Yours may be looking different than mine. There are a couple different combinations that work. So for example, if you don't have good gem quality for a water Cura, you can use somebody like the wood mini cat. And so there's different types of combinations that you can use for your end game. You know, including the wood Scheherazade if you didn't have, you know, let's say the wood on Miyoji, you could use a wood Scheherazade there in her place, and then you could, you know, even remove the Garuda in there and throw in another set of Merlins. But it all depends on what you have. So I'm just gonna go ahead and basically show you guys this team first, and we'll basically go over what the Water Titan does and get started from there. So for the first turn here on the top lane, guys, he's gonna basically seal one of your teams, whether it's the left or the right. So you're gonna need to build at least 50% resistance to basically avoid that. But more importantly, what you want to avoid is the attack down that he does. So those are the two main skills that you're gonna have to worry about on the Water Titan on the top lane. For the back lane, you're gonna get sealed for only 2 turns if you do get sealed. And for the rest of the fight, there's no debuffs to worry about. But there you go, guys. You guys can see he just did his Wrath or his swipe there, and we ended up getting attack down on the water on Miyoji. So that's why you want to have at least 50% resist. The attack down is actually very, very brutal when it comes to the front lane. If you don't have a decent amount of like attack gems or anything like that, then your Courageous Strike isn't going to be doing any damage. So it's very important that you guys have at least 50% resist for your top lane. Optimally, you do want to have your Courageous Strikers on attack crit damage, preferred Ruin set, and then Armor set, and then Valor set. But you know, you guys will do with whatever you can. If all you have is a broken set, by all means use your broken set, especially if it's somebody like the Wood Merlin, because you know, even if you're losing out 40% crit damage from a gem set, if your broken set's going to give you, you know, max crit rate, or something similar of that sort, then I would go with the broken set for sure. So all right, so this composition that I'm showing you guys here is essentially a combination of just 3 skills: defense down, weaken, and attack down. And you're basically just shooting for maximizing damage. The water Cura there is for the exposed weakness on the left. Wood on Miyoji is for defense down and Courageous Strike. The Garuda is for weaken and Courageous Strike. And then of course the Hana for the defense up and the attack down. So that basically covers your basics there on your left hand side with 3 debuffers and a healer with defense up. On the right hand side, you guys will see I'm using the Water Bast, or excuse me, the Wood Bast. The Wood Bast basically gives you defense down and attack up, which helps to fill up that extra role if you don't have somebody like the Dark Venus. So I prefer to use this setup because on the left hand side, as you guys will see, when the Water Cura leaves exposed weakness, if the Wood on Miyoji has her active skill up, in other words, her Courageous Strike up, then she will take advantage of the exposed weakness first, which essentially just makes it so that you don't have to worry about the Wood Bast stealing exposed weakness on the other side. So just like that, if you guys want to pause and rewind the video right there, you guys would have seen that the Water Cura left exposed weakness, and then the Onmyoji took that buff from her. So looks like really unlucky here with the setup. Or with the RNG, got hit pretty hard there, and there's no defense down. But you guys can kind of get the gist of it about how this, top lane really works. What you got to really rely on is not getting the attack down, because it does reduce a huge amount of damage that you can do on the front lane. Some weekends I'll go like 100 million to 150 million just on the front lane. Other weeks it'll be like this showing here now, where I'm literally only hitting 70 million. So the top lane is really RNG dependent, and hoping that you guys have enough resist to avoid getting the attack down on your courageous strikers. So but so far, we really have gotten really unlucky with all the debuffs. And mind you guys, all my mons have like skill books. Like all of my Merlins are pretty sure are the skill book now, fully skill booked. The only one that's not skill booked here on my front lane is the Wood Bast, because I obviously just haven't gotten any luck with any Basts, and nor do I ever get lucky with the skill books. And she's not somebody you really want to prioritize. For skill books, you want to prioritize all of your damage dealers, not your healers, to begin with, unless it's somebody like the Water Bass who you will need to skill book. But there you guys have it. That's your front lane. Very easy setup. If you do end up pulling a Wood Onmyoji and a Wood Garuda, even if they're not fully skill booked, I would say that they generally will still out damage a lot of the other mons, and prefer to use over a general just a Wood Scheherazade, because obviously they're 2 courageous strikers, which means you're going to have a little bit more damage coming in regardless. So definitely, guys, take advantage of your mons, your setups, and try to really take mons that are going to give you guys a little bit of an edge when it comes to damage. Like, you can be very conservative in Titans, but you'll find that if you're conservative when it comes to, like, making sure you got all your debuffs covered, that you're not going to deal as much damage unless you have 2 Wood Merlins like the way that I do here. Mind you, I've just been really lucky with RNG, and I get plenty of Wood Merlins every single Heroes Festival. But some of you guys obviously will not have that luck, so use what you guys have. And for example, the Light Siegfried can actually be used on pretty much every single Titan, so don't underestimate the power of the Light Siegfried. Do your battles every week, get your clan medals, and purchase yourself a Light Siegfried. He's very, very good. He's essentially slightly weaker than the Wood Merlin, but a lot stronger than any other mon that does not have a double courageous strike. So, unless you have the card selector and you pulled yourself a Water Acer, or if you got really lucky during the Heroes Festival when you pulled yourself a Fire Belial, I still recommend most of you guys to build your Siegfried first, as he will be the easiest double courageous striker you guys can pick up, and can deal a huge amount of damage in the Titans. So, there you guys have it. Another quick tip for you guys when it comes to building your courageous strikers for enhancements. In general, you want to go with HP percent, HP flat, attack percent, attack flat, percent defense, and crit damage, as that's going to be the composition that's going to give you the most amount of damage output. If you don't have attack crit damage ruin set on your courageous strikers, you can always go with triple attack, as triple attack is going to give you the most amount of damage on a ruin set. If you don't have triple attack crit rate on a Valor set works just as well, and you guys can basically pick and choose depending on what other Astromon you guys have. So that's your basic setup for how you guys want to set up your Titans and your mons for the Water Titan. Not just the Water Titan, I guess, just in general. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and give up here. Really unlucky with the RNG, but you guys get the gist of it. This video is not to show my damage potential, because I could sit here and run that thing like 20 to 30 times, and every single time I'm going to have either a lower or a higher number. So I'll probably be loading up some more videos with like my actual max damage potential, just to show you guys, what my records currently are. And those of you guys that run Titans, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Some weeks you may run, 200 mil, and other weekends you're running 150 mil, and it's all give and take. But with that setup, guys, you really are using the left-hand side to leave exposed weakness for the right-hand side. But since I'm using the Wood Onmyoji, if she catches that exposed weakness, it basically makes sure that my right-hand side, my Bast, is not going to steal the exposed weakness. Because with this current setup, the Bast would steal the exposed weakness every now and then. Now, my Wood Merlins here, as you guys will notice, are also wearing the costume. The costume is very, very important, because if you don't have that costume, his attack animation is going to be slower. So you're going to want to need that costume to make sure that you guys get the exposed weakness first. And it basically increases his attack speed, so it's slightly better at picking up the exposed weakness from the Cura. Here is another composition, guys, and I just wanted to throw a couple different Astromon that you guys could use for the Water Titan. For example, this one here is using the Wood Mini Cat. I think I explained it before in a couple other videos, but the Wood Mini Cat is actually a pretty good leader. If you have like really well built up Courageous Strikers, you could use a Mini Cat as the leader to basically deal your damage faster. So if you find your mons don't have the best gems or quality of gems, you can use the Wood Mini Cat lead to kind of just shorten the amount of time that it takes for you to deal more damage. So what that basically says is if your teams can't live very long, at least go for dealing as much damage as possible within those turns that you can survive. So definitely take advantage of the Wood Mini Cat lead if you don't have a Water Cura lead. Astromon that you guys can also pick up is the Wood or the Water Fungor. He also has the attack down leader skill, same as the Water Cura. Another Astromon that you guys can pick up is going to be the Wood Fungor, and even though his skills are not really the best for the Water Titan, you can use him as well as a leader. So if you don't have anybody else to use, you can use a Wood Fungor. When it comes to blind for the Water Titan, guys, it's not really necessary because he doesn't have that extra crit rate and crit damage like the Light and the Dark Titans do, or the Light Titan does. So I wouldn't say that you guys need to have it. Preferably on the right-hand side, you guys would pick somebody like the Baby Shark, like how I have him placed there, for attack up and attack down, just to get a little bit of extra coverage. But if you have nobody else, you can use the Wood Fungor. You can also use somebody else like the Water Lumina, or you could even use somebody like the Squirrel here to give you an attack down if you already have somebody else giving you attack up. So that's a good combination there. You could basically use the Squirrel with the Fungor, and that basically covers attack down, attack up, blind, and defense down as well. So just to give you guys a little bit of variation, that's how you can build your teams. The one thing, Astromon, though, that I will say is pretty much staple to the Water Titan itself is going to be your Wood Hanas, because she is basically needed to provide the defense up and the attack down to every single one of your teams. So it's very difficult to find another Astromon that will replace her, but as you guys can see, I do have the Bell Pup. I forget what her 3-star Evo name is. Let me see if I can go to where. Here she is. Ribbonus, thank you, dear Lord. So the Ribbonus has exposed weakness and defense up. Her attack animation is actually pretty quick, though, so unfortunately, unless you have somebody that can attack right after her, that exposed weakness is going to be wasted. So depending on the situation of where you are, you could actually place her on the right-hand side with somebody like the Wood Merlin, and as long as she attacks first, the Wood Merlin can catch that exposed weakness sometimes, but you'll need that costume. So if you don't have the costume, unfortunately, that setup would not work. But yeah, that's it for, setup here, guys, for your Astromon that you're going to need. Astromon that are really, really easy to build for the Water Titan is somebody going to be like the Wood Vivian. You can basically catch him in Slumbering City and in other different places as well. But that's essentially the easiest mon to get for the Water Titan, aside from the Fungors. If you guys are looking at this lineup here, there are a couple of different mons you guys can use for damage dealing. So, for example, I have, the Wood Enkidu, who gives you Courageous Strike and Protection. Then you have the Thor with Blind and Courageous Strike. Although Thor is not really ideal because Thor does need 100% crit rate to take advantage of the Courageous Strike. So you're going to need to put him on attack crit rate if you want him to work. But he can be very good for this. He can still do like 35 million damage or so, on attack crit rate with full enhancements and decent trinkets. So he is still a very viable option. But he is expensive to build, and you have to wait until he comes around whenever he does. But most often than not, guys, you can always use somebody like the Wood Beiji. If you have an extra card selector lying around, the Wood Beiji is pretty decent. The Wood Enkidu, like I said, he's okay too, but not the best. You could also use, well, there you go, your Garudas and your Wood on Miojis as well. So if you have more than one, you can use her as well. So there are other Astromon, like I said, that you can use for damage dealing. Ideally, though, you do want to pick up some light Siegfrieds, as that they will be giving you the most amount of damage in any of the Titans for sure. Shout out to SSG, because you're right there on the chat, so shout out to you, my boy. But yeah, guys, that's basically going to be your setup here for a lot of these Titan battles, for the Water Titan at least. But you can definitely take advantage of the Wood Scheherazade. She's not going to be optimal, like I said, in the Water Titan, unless you have another, like, 2 Wood Merlins, so you could basically use her next to them. But aside from that, you can basically try to go for this setup here. It's going to be very difficult for you guys to pick up those Wood Merlins, but in general, that's how you kind of want to set up for your end game. One thing that I will say for sure as well is that if you can't deal very good amount of damage in the top lane, prioritize building your damage for the back lane, because as you guys know, your back lane is where you're going to get most of your damage done. And that's just because, you know, you're not dealing with the attack down like you would in the front lane. And because the only thing that you got to worry about is those first 2 turns with Seal. So other than that, I would say that the majority of you guys, if you only have one good lineup, build it for your back lane. I mean, you could even do 2 Astromon for the top lane, just die really quickly, and then just start, you know, only prioritizing your back lane so your back lane does the most amount of damage. So that's basically it for that. I guess I could show you guys the teams, how they work. And let me go ahead and do that just really quickly, because I don't want this video to run too long. We'll just run with this last team setup here. I don't think my Courageous Strikers are even built, or it will even do any damage. But as you guys see, the Fungor works. He's going to leave the exposed weakness for the right hand side, no problem with this setup. The timing is fine. There's no, you know, nobody is stealing exposed weakness, so you guys can see that. And there's the Beiji basically taking it. Sometimes the Hana will take it, or the Baby Shark will take it. If, you know, for example, if Beiji is getting her 5-star skill up, sometimes they'll take it. Let's see if maybe they'll do it now. Of course, the Fungor didn't land the exposed weakness, so we can't really see that just yet, but let's see if maybe he'll do it on 1 or 2 more turns. But yeah, guys, this is essentially a decent setup. There are other ways that you guys can build for the Water Titan. There is no, like, perfect way to take on the Titans. It's just all going to be about your mons specifically. Work on trying to build, though, at least a couple of these. Like I said, the Wood Vivian is pretty solid if you don't have a Wood on Mioji. Just for defense down, or you can even just build, you know, the Wood Scheherazade to give you guys a little bit of, you know, the weekend and the defense down. But as you guys can see, no problems whatsoever, and I think there you go, guys. The Wood Fungor, man, he's still level 50, and he still rocks out on most of these Titans. And this is Titan level 122, so I definitely believe a lot more of you guys could deal a pretty decent amount of damage in Titans, and all you really need is just that push to build those mons. But there you guys saw, at least the Beiji still taking the exposed weakness, and you have all your basics covered. You know, you have all your debuffs with these teams. They're very easy to build, so take advantage, guys. You know, feel free to always reach out to the Discord as well. Like, if you don't know what mon to focus on or how to build them, just reach out on the Discord, and you know, we could definitely let you guys know which one to focus on, or how to basically try to change your lineup. You know, this is all still part of, like, the beginner to mid-game kind of introduction to Titans, so that nobody is going to be perfect on this, unless you're somebody like True Hero Luca, who really, you know, has all his mons built and every character specifically set up in a way to deal the most amount of damage. You know, you're going to have different team compositions than some of what these end game folks have. So shout out to True Hero Luca, of course, for always teaching me how to become a little bit better. And along the other rest of the community as well, because they have definitely put in a lot of effort to help me try to get or motivate me to be a little bit better myself. So thank you, everybody, for always trying to steer me in the right direction, even when sometimes I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. So, but as you guys can see, these setups do work in the long run. and they're very easy to build. So definitely make sure you guys, you know, at least try or make an attempt to build something that will work. And the Water Titan really is the easiest one to build for, aside from the Light Titan now, because there are so many free mons that you guys can build, like the Wood Ribbonist, the Fungors. Heck, even the Wood Minicat is really easy to pick up, as they're all 3-star mons. So. But anyways, guys, that's it for this video. I'll probably be loading up the other ones here in the next couple of days. I wanted to put a couple of days in between each one when I loaded them. That way you guys can look at one and maybe, like, you know, digest it and see how you guys can improve your teams, or, you know, see which mons you guys should be building to help you out and not over stress you guys. If I throw all the guides up at once, you know, you'll be like, oh, I got to build this mon and this mon and this mon, and it'll just be still in the same scenario where you don't know what to focus on. And unfortunately, with the amount of Astromon that are currently in the game, you really do need to kind of like dedicate a week or two to kind of focus on one specific mon or two mons to kind of really just get you to complete one task at a time. I do think that they do need to rework the gems. I like that they did a little bit of the inventory. Hopefully they rework the gem system a little bit better. Right now, you know, with the state of things, there are just so many gems that you need to worry about that you shouldn't need to. So I'm sure that at some point they will probably, hopefully, and I'm just saying this, I'm hoping they get rid of the flat gems. Like, there's no need to spam my chat with flat recovery gems anymore, because there's just like an abundance of recovery gems. And as everybody knows, recovery is just a useless stat. And for the amount of mons that you need to build, you're not going to be running golems, you know, if you're trying to prioritize your energy to, you know, getting all of these events done. So definitely make sure you guys use your energy wisely. Right now, guys, pick up the Water Mira. She's pretty decent for the Apophis. The Light Mira is also pretty decent as well on the Wood Apophis for that curse. But yeah, run your story, build up your Astromons, and just try to focus on one thing at a time. Like I said, the Wood Titan or the Water Titan is actually pretty easy to build. So I recommend a lot of you guys to start building up some of your teams and focusing on what to build next. With that said, guys, I will go ahead and end this video here now. Consider liking the video or subscribing to my channel if you are new, and stay tuned for some more upcoming guides. Take it easy, guys.